list up. You can look at the list. There it is, right there.
Well, let's take those. The Mexican comment, if you remember, and the media, to their credit, did start after their initial run of it. Right after that, he said, and I'm sure there's some good people.
He said, I'm
Right.
sure some of them
Are good
are
people.
good. I assume.
Right.
He said, I assume. That doesn't mean he knows. He says, I assume some of them are good people.
Okay, but a racist.
But I can't. But I wouldn't assume. I'm not going to assume that some whites are good people. I'm not going to assume that some blacks are good people. I know
But
that
Don,
some
if
whites are
you-
good people. I know
Don.
that some blacks are good people.
But Don, if you're
Serve 'em up,
racist,
Isaac.
you're assuming that all people who are not like you are bad people.
No,
or
no,
subhuman.
no, no.
Or
That's not true.
subhuman. That Don, that's what, and that's why I felt the need to speak out, because we can't have shifting definitions, because we really are approaching a transformation point in America. It's no longer the economy stupid, it's the demographics dummy. And there's a lot
He's
of
gonna start crying.
white anxiety out there about, and legitimate
All right.
anxiety.
You took all the tape.
About the changing demographics of the country.
Yes, because we live in a country
Because
where,
let's do that. So we live in a country where the demographics are changing. It's becoming less white.
correct.
Okay.
Nailed it.
You're making my point.
Nailed it.
So then, if you're a
What-
white,
what-
if you're a white person who is afraid of that,
What,
or
man?
that is concerning to you, what is that saying? That you are losing power
That's not tape.
in some sense? You're losing an advantage in some sense?
I think it says a number of things to a number of different white Americans, and the genius that Donald Trump tapped in. Well, the genius of Donald Trump is that he tapped into that. Now, some
He
people
tapped into
would
that
say,
fear, which is based
some-
in racism. But go on.
Some people would say that, that's worse than being a racist, because he knows better and he's manipulating people. Okay? But the genius marketer that he is tapped into what's happening in this country, Don. And part of what's happening in this country is that particularly white Americans, I mean, we all acknowledge that the conversation on race is a difficult conversation to have. It's certainly difficult for white Americans because the paradigm starts out that,
I'm a
whites
racist.
have committed what they've done and that they're all racist.
Because I'm white.
That's the bottom line. And
That
so
all
what I'm
whites are
saying,
racist?
Mm-hmm.
no. I'm saying that
What?
a lot of whites don't feel comfortable having the conversation because they feel like they're all typecast as racist.
I have this
Okay,
conversation
so-
with my white friends all the time, and I don't think that
Gay.
they're racist.
And
I have
I'm
it
glad
with,
to
with
know.
white folks in the studio. I don't
let
think
me,
that they're racist.
Because
let
they're
me
gay.
say, Don, let me say that this affects, white Americans in different ways. Okay,
Isaac,
and
you
so
seem to be
let
making
me.
excuses. Hold on. You seem
I'm
to
not
be making
making
excuses
no.
for.
I'm not making
Go on.
excuses. I'm not making excuses, Don. What I'm trying to say is there is a real conversation that needs to take place in America based on the change in demographics. Okay.
Okay.
And
Get in
we
here.
have to be careful. We have to be careful before we just, I just heard April Ryan say it, and she's correct. Before we just throw the label of racism out there. Okay, because we can't have the
But
conversation.
doesn't that start with the
one thing
president?
But
before
what
you
else-
say?
doesn't
One thing
that-
before
what
you
else
say.
we
Let me
have?
just give you something. Let me just say this, and I will be quiet. You all, the cameras did show the ceremony Friday, but the cameras weren't privy to the close to 30-minute private meeting that I had with the president, the vice president, and Ben Carson. And not to just
Ben
get
Carson's a
into
racist.
the specifics of the conversation, because I think that would not be totally appropriate, but just to give you a little flavor of it, I
I'm
discovered
mad.
that I was racially ignorant of a fact, because I was not in there just, talking, or just playing up to the president. We were having a real conversation. And one of the things that came out of that I was not aware of, is that supposedly the highest
Gay
educated
Don
group of
Lemon.
immigrants in this country
producer
Are
was saying,
you-
"Gay Don Lemon, cut him off."
Were you aware of that, Don?
Yes, I was aware
I
of
was
that.
not. I was
think
not
I've been
aware of
saying
that.
it. Okay.
Gay Don Lemon,
I was
cut this
like-
guy
I was
off.
like
You
most people.
have been proving my point the entire time you've been talking, and it's, listen, I don't want to be rude to you because I know you're from Atlanta.
Right.
You know my family.
But my producer was
Right.
saying, "Gay Don Lemon, I gotta cut this guy
Yes.
off."
What is your point? Maybe I'm not hearing you. What is
Look,
what is your point?
because you're saying that you're ignorant of a point, and people who are telling you and others of your ignorance, making you aware of them, not in a rude way, but aware of your ignorance of the subject, then you say that we're uninformed. But we are informed, and we're trying to tell you that you're not informed. We're telling you that Nigerians and many people who come here from the so-called, whatever he said, shit house or shithole countries are better educated than native-born Americans. We've been telling you that. So in essence, it doesn't matter which country someone comes from. And someone who comes from those countries may be even more prone to trying to make it. They may want to make it, and they be motivated to make it even more so than someone who is given everything or comes from countries
We're not
who are
disagreeing.
privileged countries. So you didn't know that, and the
Don't let
president
him
just
talk.
because
Well,
the
no, I
president-
didn't know.
Isaac, you said you let me talk.
Yes.
Just
I did.
because the president is not aware of his racism does not make him not racist. It just makes him racist and ignorant of the fact that he is racist. And
But-
it is very, look, I'm going to be honest. It is tough to sit here and call the president of the United States a racist. It is tough to sit here and call the president of the United States a racist.
Uh-huh.
But you have to do that as a journalist. And guess what? It's you do it because you realize the person who is in that position has less respect for the office than you do. Because if he respected the office, and if he respected
This motherfucker been
all of
talking shit.
America and all American people, then he would listen to the majority of black people and brown people in this country who are
brown?
trying to educate him and tell him he is exhibiting racist
Yep, that's it.
behavior. He's not listening. He
Well,
keeps doubling
stupid
down
ass
on it.
jive turkey.
You keep doubling
Fucker up
down
in
on
the
it.
talking
The
shit.
minority, the small, minute minority of African Americans who, for whatever reason, whatever it is
Yeah,
that is
shake it.
in it for them, they are
You
sitting
don't you
there
be
and being
talking like that.
manipulated by this man. And I have to say that's one question I wanted to ask you because
Yeah, motherfucker.
Bernice is not out here.
of jive turkey in the face.
Martin III is not out here. Dexter's not out
Uh-huh.
here defending this president. But you're out here. You're not even
I'm
part of
not.
the immediate
I'm
family.
not.
People
I'm not.
are wondering
I'm-
what is in it for you. Are you capitalizing
I'm not.
off of Dr. King?
I'm-
Because you cannot believe that this president is not racist if you listen to what he says and if you look at the history of his behavior.
Yeah, but first off,
Yeah.
what I think to characterize me as defending the president is just certainly not the case. What I'm defending is the principle.
Of the human
Okay,
brain.
For instance, let me give you the difference between the reason why I don't think that President Trump is the 1960s Jim Crow racist. You referenced George Wallace,
It's
the
not
guy
1960s.
that.
He cannot be 1960s. It's not 1960s.
He doesn't have a time machine.
Matter. No, that doesn't matter, Isaac. It's 2018.
Good
he is
point.
a 2018
Don got him
racist,
on that one.
Which is probably a racist denial or ignorant
But
of the
Don,
race.
Yep.
you see, you just put the point on the problem. What you just said, 2018 racist. That is the reason why we cannot have the conversation that we need to have. Because you're unwilling to accept the fact that someone who does not look like you, who does not have your history, can't relate to your history.
That is not true.
Okay.
That is
Let
not
me finish. Let me
true
finish,
at
not Don,
all.
because what you
Isaac, don't make him cry.
Let me finish. Now, the way that what you have said is correct,
gonna
but
cry?
the way that you get someone to relate to your history is first off not by starting off calling them a racist. We have made great progress in this
Okay,
in this
Isaac,
country.
I've got to go.
Oh,
No one started off by calling Donald Trump a racist.
wait, what?
Donald Trump exhibited behavior
That was
since the
racist. That was
1970s.
racist.
That was
racist.
Isaac,
And
chill.
so if
Slow
you
your roll.
continue to do that, then what does that mean?
It means a couple of things, and I was trying to tell you.
I got to go because everyone is telling me. Make your point.
George Wallace said, remember, he threw down the gauntlet, segregation now, segregation forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Donald Trump says, hey, black people, your community is wrecked. You know, your black leaders have abandoned you. Give me a chance, is
Boom.
what he's saying. He did not say, you're black, you're blacks, your community is wrecked, and you're subhuman, and you don't deserve a chance.
You don't have to say
He
that.
did not say that.
That's not what racism is. You're talking about
You
degrees
did,
of racism now. So listen, I gotta say, also George Wallace regretted what he did and apologized.
That's because people like me and others wrapped our arms around George Wallace and schooled him on his racism.
That's because
the same
Really?
thing needs to
Wallace
happen
at
with
some
the
point in his
president. The
life
same thing
realized
needs
that
to
he
happen.
did something wrong and he needed to listen to other people.
After people took the time with him and approached him
Okay.
and sat with him.
We have gone about
This
10
needs
minutes
to
over
happen.
on this interview.
This
We'll
needs to
continue.
happen with the president.
We'll continue it. We're cutting into
That's good. We gotta go
larger
cry.
territory,
Liberal
sponsors
fear.
and all that is beyond my pay grade. Thank you. Happy King Day. Appreciate you coming on.
And thank you.
When we come back,
That's
President Trump's
man.
allies tying
You shut
themselves
up.
up in knots trying to convince
Make America
you
great.
that he didn't